Only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 'Tis the Season for MHealthy. We're going to wait a few more moments before we actually begin. We have about half the people logged on thus far. So, like I said, I'm going to wait about a minute and a half to see if we can get a few more people in here before we're off and running. Okay, well, I'm back, and we are going to go ahead and get started here. We don't want to take up too much of your time today because we really appreciate you being here with us and taking the time to be here for this information as well as for yourself, just taking the time to do something for you. Today our topic is planning for the festivities, and really I do want to highlight planning. A lot of what we experience in our social events and in our financial status is just planning for what you're going to do, planning for what you like to do so that things don't come up as unexpected and maybe throw you for a loop as well. My name is Erica, and I manage the nutrition and weight management programs here, and we have Bridget as well.
Hi, my name is Bridget, and I work in physical activity.
Okay, so another thing for today is that we will answer questions at the end. So if you would like to type in any questions as we go along, we will get to those later on. We'll also be sending out the presentation as well as a couple of tip sheets, probably by tomorrow afternoon once we get all the data in. All right, so we will get started here.
All right, so the holidays can be a really joyful time for people, but they can also be really overwhelming. There's a lot of different things going on. We have parties, family, friends. There's all different kinds of stress with getting last-minute presents and making sure we're planning for either parties we're going to be hosting or attending, or just time that we're going to take for ourselves.
You're right. A lot of people don't just even just stop. And what I was saying to begin with is just taking the time to plan or just be mindful of what is it I can do, what is it I want to do, where do I want to end up at the end of this holiday season, or just at the end of today.
Right.
All right. So, as I mentioned, the planning for joy even. Sometimes we do things just as we're supposed to. And sometimes that doesn't end up feeling so great. So planning for the joy that might occur in some of those high-risk situations, or some of the situations just don't feel as comfortable as usual in, because there will be different social pressures, different temptations. Today we're going to talk about temptations around food and around alcohol. And we're also going to think about how you can empower yourself to make mindful decisions when you're in those situations. Some of those strategies are, what ideas do you have, Bridget, along that line?
Well, like Erica highlighted earlier, planning is one of the biggest things we're going to talk about, and you'll see it's a theme through all of this. Planning the food you're going to eat, planning your physical activity, staying active with the people we love, and really focusing on the fact that when we're around the holidays, we focus on the people and not, the food and the presents and the celebration, but just the people that we're with and who we love. Keeping your workout schedule the same is one of those planning things that will be important as you go along to keep up your energy. Even if you can't dedicate the same amount of time to it, splitting it up throughout the day. And then we're going to talk about some healthy indulgences. During the holidays, we do want to indulge, and we like to indulge. It's something that makes us happy, but how do we do it in moderation without overindulging?
You're right, especially with food, because food is so much more than just nourishment.
Right.
It really does have a lot of meaning, especially around the holidays.
Right. It's very social. There's a lot of traditions with certain foods and families.
Right, things you might not eat all year long, and it's there, and you want it, and you should have it.
Right.
So how do you just plan to have those foods just maybe in a different way? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about those times with family and friends and about those social situations. How do you prioritize?
For me, it's been a little new this year. I'm newly married, and so my husband and I have been trying to prioritize where we're going to go for Christmas. So we just decided, we have to split up. The priority is get to both of our family, make it equal. And it'd be too difficult to go to everything. I was telling Erica before this began that we had 3 places that we could potentially go on Christmas, and just trying to run between those 3 places, there's no way we would enjoy it. So after we started talking about it and making those decisions, what obligations are most important to us, which ones do we want to attend and which ones do we feel obligated to attend. And after we sorted that out a little bit, we felt better. We had a plan and we could go with it.
Yeah, definitely the planning. You have to think also if you have people from out of town, or let's say I'm the only person who lives in Michigan and my dad's in Texas and my mom's in Virginia. I was looking get to them all in one day. So how do you do that? What kind of alternate choices might you suggest to people? Everybody wants to see you at a certain time, but maybe how do you suggest other things in a fashion that's constructive? I really want to see you as well.
Right.
That day and time doesn't work. How about this one or this one? And coming up with an answer that suits the parties respectively and makes everybody a little less stressed out.
Right, definitely.
Especially if we're running from place to place to place to meet obligations. And let's say the weather is bad, too, and you never know what can happen in those situations. You can either not get to where you wanted to go and then you feel like you let someone down, or, goodness, you may even have accidents or run into an accident along the way that just gets in the way. Being forgiving of yourself and others, too.
Right, definitely. Feeling grateful that you were thought of for the invitation and not necessarily guilty that you won't be able to attend or that you have to make alternate plans. Because alternate plans aren't a bad thing. Sometimes you need to do something the week after Christmas and you can still see that person and share in that holiday spirit with them.
If it's about the people,
right.
I know that the holiday itself may be the time, but you can socialize with those people at another time. It's about those relationships.
Right.
And, maybe I can't do this party that you're having, but maybe we could get together next Saturday or in the middle of January sometime when everything else has kind of calmed down a bit.
Right, definitely.
So if you do attend a party, there are lots of things to think about and be mindful for and plan for and be intentional about. Bridget, what about food at parties? What are some of the things that you struggle with when you attend social events?
For me, I love food during the holidays, particularly desserts. They're my favorite part. My grandma is very accomplished at making a delicious lemon meringue pie. And it's difficult to choose between all of my favorites. So I have to plan for that. I have to decide which ones I really love and that I'm going to go for. Other times I'll take a smaller portion. I'll put it on a smaller plate so that it looks like I'm actually eating more.
You can even take home leftovers. Like, right. You get one dessert at the event and take one dessert home for later on in the week.
Exactly. No. Basically I don't want to deprive myself of that. Purposely resisting foods that you love can backfire. Sometimes you'll overindulge in that food when you're trying to resist it, or overindulge in a different food while you're compensating for what you really want. So we do some planning. We try and create some awareness through some mindful eating, like portioning out some appetizers onto smaller plates rather than eating off the serving plate, so you're aware of how much you're actually consuming.
One of the things is, I think you hear say about sitting when you eat a meal. If you have to sit down to eat food, it actually will decrease the amount of food that you have at a social event dramatically. I know I have, and I probably would guess most of you out there have been in situations where you're standing around a counter of food, or a table of food, and it's just there. Yeah, right? It's just there, whether you really were hungry or not. It looks good, it smells good, someone else grabbed it, and you're like, oh, yeah, that was good, I haven't had that in a while. And you just do it kind of unconsciously. So if you actually have to make a point, that mindfulness, again, of I have to make a point to make a plate, and I have to sit down, and I have to eat with a fork. I've had it, too, because a lot of things are finger food. Definitely. If you can only eat things that you can eat with a fork, that really cuts down on your choices at parties, anyway. What about eating throughout the day? I know some people say, I'm just not going to eat all day long for the party because then I can eat whatever I want. Then there's people who say, man, I need to lightly snack throughout the day, so otherwise I'm going to overindulge. What do you think, or what works best for you?
I think snacking is the way to go. I'm a snacker by nature. I love, taking little things with me throughout the day, but it helps, keep you even. Your blood sugar stays even. It lessens some of those cravings for those high-fat and sugar foods that are very typical of Christmas. We're comfortable in that environment, and we're surrounded by it. So it's, any defense that you can have for it, such as snacking, not going in starving, is going to help immensely.
Can also help, you mentioned lowering your blood sugar, goes to moods as well, because you have those blood sugar swings that can affect your mood or your quickness of irritation or to react to stress. So sometimes people who just maintain their hydration levels as well as just a nice, even, small snacking every few hours can help them with their reaction to different stressors.
Right. No, it definitely can. In addition, snacking helps to keep you from being too hungry, so you are more apt to listening to your body's signals that you're full. If you do become too hungry, you skip out and you're like, oh, I'm going to save my calories, I know I'm going to eat a lot later, you skip out on those snacks, you're not as apt to listen to those because you're going to be so hungry. It can lead into overindulgence, and overindulgence doesn't feel good. How does that usually make you feel, Erica, when you've had just too much of something?
Well, at first I feel really good, but then after that, it just feels, okay. That's where I want to go first, but your waistband gets tighter. You might bend down to pick something up, and you just feel like it's not as easy as it was before. You might actually start feeling really tired because your body is trying to really just utilize that food and digest your food, and it's kind of taking away from your other energy levels. Everybody's a little different, but I think that when you overdo, you don't really know it until it's kind of past the point as well. So we get to that point, and we're just like, oh, I feel really great, and then half an hour later, you just don't feel so great.
Exactly, and that can cause some regret, which can cause some extra stress, and then you're not getting the most out of your party experience, socializing with other people. Those kinds of feelings can create a more stressful holiday. Some of those things that you want to avoid if you can.
One of the things that could be helpful with that, and I'm not saying this is you have to or anything like that at all, because some people might want to take time off from tracking if they track a lot. But then again, if you're worried or it is really on your mind a lot, am I going to be able to not eat a lot or overeat? If that's something that is your goal at the end, then tracking could help with that, because if you're a social event and you have to write down everything that you eat or drink, it's kind of a huge obstacle. Right? Or when you're thinking about the food and thinking what's in the food, but also just having to take out a paper and pencil and write down what you ate, it might be just a little like, that's kind of odd, or what's going on. So it could be a tool you put into place if you wanted to decrease the amount of foods you're eating.
Right. And help create some more of that awareness so that you know exactly, how much of something you are consuming.
And another good tool for that can be the My Plate as well, or this My Plate type of example. And think about it that way. This is just a guide for saying, you know what, half of your plate should be fruit and vegetable, meaning highly nutritious, lower calories. Okay, so you want to load up on those sorts of foods, kind of fill your stomach a bit, as well as you're getting actually nourishment from the foods you're eating, not just that enjoyment piece too.
Right.
Think about the size of the plate really more than anything. I want to caution on these large plates, or everybody likes the oval plates because you can fit more food, and it is very festive, right? I can fit more food on this plate. Okay, that might not be your goal. It might be that you want to have smaller portions. So if you have a smaller plate and you still want to try everything, you have to take even less of it. So it's one small spoon versus one scoop of it. Or if you're thinking about, I definitely want 2 plates of food, I want to be able to go around the table twice. Well, if you start off with 2 smaller plates versus 2 larger plates, ultimately you'll have less food. It's still 2 plates of food, but it's 2 smaller plates of food. And it's holidays, and you really have to moderate what it is that you want to work on for that day. And think about it, it's probably that day or a couple days. It's not every day. Right,
exactly. And that's the main thing here, is that, you do want to indulge a little bit, and that's okay.
Now, hosting a party, is there anything that you can do to promote healthier behaviors at your party? Lightening up your traditional recipes, and we're going to give you some ideas of those. Trying something new. I mean, I have potato chips all the time, so why in the heck am I going to want a potato chip at my Christmas party? And then emphasizing socializing instead of food. Are there any things that you do to socialize or change the mood from food to socializing?
One of the things that you could do is, have some entertainment, turn on some Christmas music, and you could turn on the Wii even maybe if you have one of those, and do a little bit of a dance-off. You can take a walk together, even if it's not your entire party, but you can take a walk. You can keep your food actually in one place instead of all over the house. So you encourage people to walk around and not have food readily available in every station. It gives people room to stand and mingle in that sort of way. Maybe plan some active activities instead of just having a food-based party. You can always plan something like ice skating together, or one of our coworkers here, his family has a curling game every year that they put together. So something fun and a little different instead of just a food-based party.
Yep, and just personal experience too. If you have people around your party, you as the host, you have people around your party who maybe are trying to watch their weight or watch their health. They may have lots of conditions that they are really trying to be mindful of, and being around alcohol and food may be really a large struggle for them, and actually be causing them a lot of anxiety. So your idea of having the food, drinks, things like that in a central location, so that people are able to kind of escape, if you want to say, that just be maybe mindful of other people's situations too. So we would talk about some lighter preparation, and there are lots of things that you can do to lighten up your traditional favorites. One of the things that you could do is using just skim or low-fat milk instead of whole milk.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy replacement.
Definitely.
A lot of times that you can take out quite a bit of the butter
Mm-hmm.
as well. They say actually can take about 2/3 of the butter out and not change a lot of the flavor.
Right.
So those are some easy things right there. Like so we're going to send to you a whole tip sheet on this. So we have about between baking and actually cooking, if you want to say, we have about 20 different items on our list that we will send to you also. I just noticed that we're running a little bit low on time, and we want to make sure we get through the information. And this is something that probably better read than talked about, right. So you have it with you. So alcohol, again, I think the main thing is like with food, planning, moderation, and empty calories versus nourishing calories.
Right, right. You know, and with alcohol, consider everyone when you're hosting the party. As Erica said, there may be some people, due to health concerns, that may be avoiding alcohol, making sure that they have some festive options or that they aren't being, talked into drinking when they don't really want to. You could do something like some sparkling water with cranberry juice, just so it's got that pretty, holiday color and a little bit of bubble to make it kind of fun.
Infusing waters, that's another thing a lot of people are doing. You make it a few days in advance with berries or cucumbers or mint with lemon with citrus.
Especially delicious.
And you put in one of those really lovely glass crafts, and people are like, "Ooh, that's kind of cool, right?" And it was not much work on your part.
Exactly, and the sparkling water too, or even just regular water, can help people meet their fluid needs if they are drinking. And switching between alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages is another way that you can, practice moderation in your consumption. Maybe saving wine for dinner instead of drinking it with your appetizers and with dinner and with dessert. Swapping between all of those so that you're mindful of your calories.
Yeah, and I think that's another good point to bring up is that if you have been thinking about the calories you're consuming, don't forget about the alcohol.
Right.
As you can see here, like eggnog with the alcohol in it is 460 calories per serving. Serving is about a 4-ounce glass of the eggnog with about probably 1 ounce of rum. And so it's not much. And what is it you want to indulge in? We're back to what we're talking about. Like you started talking about the pie at the beginning. Do you want to have 4 pieces of dessert, or do you want to have 4 half pieces of dessert? Do you want to have 1 dessert and 1 drink? Planning out what it is you want to spend your calories on, what's important to you. So all in all, I think that this wraps it up really well, things that Bridget and I have been discussing. Indulge in things that make you happy. In moderation, as a way to stay healthy and happy. It's very good. It's good for your body. It's good for your mind. It's good for your soul.
Right.
There's a lot of things within our holiday season. Plan ahead as much as possible to enjoy those holidays in a way that's healthiest for you. Making mindful, deliberate choices. That pertains to all your food, drink, and other indulgences to build vitality and happiness. And rest.
Definitely. Make sure you take time to rest. There's so much going on. Sometimes the holidays can be a little bit of a whirlwind, but remember, it's a little bit of a time to kind of recharge and take some time with yourself and with others.
Okay. Well, we do thank you for joining us today, and I don't see that we have any questions on our board. We had saved some time for them, but since we don't, we're going to end a few minutes early. You can always email us questions here at MHealthy as well. So if something comes up after you've gotten off the call, please be sure to send us that question, and we hope to have you in attendance next week. It will be the 3rd and final of this series, and it will be all about maintaining your energy and your cheer throughout this holiday season. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.